All right, to discuss the resurgence of mass abductions of students and the general escalation of insecurity in Nigeria, I'm joined by Ibrahim Abdullateef, Senior Special Assistant on Communications to Kwara State Governor from Ilori, the state capital, and Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu, Security Consultant. Gentlemen, you are welcome. Let me start with you, Sadeeq. The question that Governor Idris was just asking, I did ask this, I think yesterday or the day before, to a security personnel. How come soldiers were there and not long before they left, this attack occurred? The governor is now bringing that to light. Can you help make sense of what really happened or what could have happened?
Well, it is difficult to make sense of it, but with due respect, with the personality of the governor, he makes such a statement. I have appeared on one media where I said it is not enough for him to just make that statement and then it dies down like that. If he has made such a damning statement, then it is necessary, because when you're talking about protecting schools, there are about 5 layers that we think should work. The surprising thing is that in this place, the first layer worked. What is that layer? Detection.
Sorry?
Detection.
Okay.
That means due to some movement in the area, the state government was able to know that there are bandit activities around that area. So that one, responded. So if it is said after that detection, schools have, security people have been called to keep a 24/7 watch on that area, and then they were drawn dramatically a few minutes before the attack, then definitely this is something that should not be allowed laying down. You get the point? It's a very, very strong accusation.
Yep.
We can say allegation, and if it can be followed through. Why I say it can be followed through, because to be honest, since we started this insurgency 15 years, you hear a lot of conspiracy theories, but there's no single one that has been followed to conclusion that we find this is what happened. You hear a white man has been seen dropping arms in a helicopter. You hear each of these things. Personally, as part of my professional interest, I follow each of this. NGO has brought arms for one insurgent. All this, when you follow them, finally they end up into nothing. So this time around that we have a governor, who said that they received information that there are bandit activity, which is very good. Detection has worked this time around. Early warning has been gotten. But then, if you said the soldiers were there, and then just a few minutes, they were withdrawn, and then the attack happened, then I think it's something that...
3 p.m., 3:45. Very interesting. I'll get back to you on some of the issues you've raised, and of course the governor raised. Let me come to you, Abdullateef. What more can you tell us about the reports we're getting that abductors are asking for a sum of 300 million naira, and that the number is 38 as against the earlier reported 35?
Thank you very much. Calm and peace has been restored in the local community. As I speak with you, the combined security forces have taken over the community, maintaining several operations to ensure that these criminal elements are dislodged in the axis. We can also assure you that operations are ongoing to ensure that the kidnapped victims are being rescued as soon as possible. And we wish to place on record that we have firm faith in our security operatives to get this done. The government is seriously engaging and coordinating with them to ensure the success and victory in their ongoing operations, not only to rescue the abducted victims, but to strengthen peace and stability all across the state.
All right, I'll get back to you, Sadeeq. Over time, just like you mentioned now, over time, even with all the past incidences of these kidnappings, government, both at the state and the federal, have always been reactive instead of proactive. Someone said if the snake bites before the snake charmer, the purpose is defeated. Why, with all the instances, why are we always reactive and never proactive?
A very valid observation. If you can recall, the first incident of kidnap of school children is the Chibok, 2012. Then suddenly we have Dapchi, then we have several others, Kankara, and so on and so forth. To arrest this sin, at the government level, there was supposed to be a safe school initiative started by Gordon Brown. which lasted for a while, and then the government, joined what is called Safe School Declaration. We have seen very high-profile launches of these programs. The police did a very high-profile launching, that they have even launched a special school police squad. The civil defense also did another very high-profile launching that was carried by all the media, including Arise TV. But the sad reality is that this Safe School Declaration and monies have been allocated for it. But the truth is that this Safe School Declaration has remained a slogan. It's just a slogan, because what do you mean by it? If you have this school now, we did not see this special police squad, we did not see this special civil defense squad in any of these things. So all we have is, like he's saying, after the event security forces, they have taken over the community. I don't know, I mean, even a stupid, they will not come for a second, they are not likely to come for a second abduction. You get the point? So this reaction, the government has to follow. I am happy to hear in the Senate, I heard Senator Oshumole saying, where is the money for the Safe School Declaration? Where has it gone? But we shouldn't have waited for this thing to happen. When this is the problem with the legislature in terms of allocating money for security, they don't follow the money. They just allocate and leave it, and this will happen. So it is a very sad reality. It means still schools, especially those in the rural areas, they are still there. What the Safe School Declaration said, is some things, it's a whole of community approach. At least for every school now, at least you should have at least a perimeter fence. It's not that perimeter fence will stop a determined attacker.
You're talking about policy. I will get back to you on policy, but let me get back to you, Abdullateef. What action is the government taking now that the bandits have made contact? That is one. Did they give any reason at all why they have free groups and money for each group? And who have they said who is responsible?
Thank you very much. I explained earlier that we have firm faith in the ongoing operations of the security operatives to rescue the abducted victim. It is not in our habit to entertain the line that is being suggested. Between the month of October and November, at least 50 previously abducted persons were rescued by the combined security forces in their various operations across the north and south of Kwara. At least 25 more were neutralized in their operations, and 17 were arrested for participation or involvement in criminal activities in the state. Looking at this, you would believe me that it's only proper to continue to support and encourage them to carry through with these operations. The Nigeria Police Force has deployed new 4 tactical teams to Kwara, which include the tactics and weapon team, intelligence response team, and 2 other categories. These people are currently operating across the forest in Iruku and the surrounding communities to ensure that they track down these criminal element and rescue the abducted victims. That's what the government is putting their faith in and willing to continue to support them so that they can succeed. I also want you to know that before the abduction incident in Iruku, relative peace and calm has returned across the length and breadth of Kwara. The previous incident at Okiode had literally been solved. Residents who had abandoned their communities have now returned there. Schools have been reopened there before this incident. Markets have also opened. I'm telling you all this so that you know that situation in Kwara is being seriously monitored, and government is coordinating with the top security commanders, especially the Office of the National Security Advisor and the federal government, to ensure that this is nipped in the bud. So I assure you again that in no time, we are expecting good news.
All right. Of course, everybody's expecting good news. I'll get back to you. You mentioned a little bit about policy. Some have said that for the schools that are within remote areas, that they should be closed if the nation doesn't have enough boots on ground, to take charge of those areas. I don't know what you think about that policy and the fact that the governor also talked about investigation. One is wondering, shouldn't people be sacked for this sort of because he's asking who gave the order for the withdrawal.
Okay, let me start addressing that. Honestly, if what the governor said is true and it is proven, of course heads should roll. Because again, this will be the first time that, like I said, since the security, you hear a lot of conspiracy theories. But eventually, all the stories don't bear out. If this one is able to bear out, maybe we have started seeing the end of the whole problem. Having said that, for schools that are in rural areas, when the first safe-school initiative was started, that's what it did. That was supported by Gordon Brown after Chibok. They identified schools that are in heightened areas in the northeast that time, Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe, and they relocated the students. That is a temporary measure. But I want people to understand why the importance of safety of schools. The idea behind that is that education is too important to be stopped for any reason. So as much as possible, you know, now this now has, you can see a chain event. Almost every state now is closing. That is the bad thing about it. And unfortunately, it is happening in areas that are already educationally backwards. When you kill education, you are killing the future. Yep. So the idea behind safe school is to ensure whether even if there is war, as much as possible, education is not stopped. Of course, paying also attention to the security of the people. So the point I am making, after the safe school declaration, the launches in Abuja mostly, the schools that are, you know, really threatened in areas, certainly we don't have enough boots on the ground to cover all schools. You can't put all soldiers or also in every school. But the civil defense, for example, they have done a survey where they said they have categorized the school in 2021, 2022. Okay. Because I have been involved with this school, you know, since the beginning. They said they have categorized school by the level of danger. Now, we don't have enough resources to cover everything, but in areas like the place that happened in Kebbi State, this is an area that between Zamfara and Niger State. You definitely know that is a school that should receive special attention. So you can categorize the schools and give attention with the resources we have now, which I agree are not enough, and stop again also right from where we even inspect schools. You don't go in the middle of nowhere and just put a school without even a wall. If you are driving by road, even from Kaduna here to Abuja to Kaduna, you will see such schools. But at the same time also you will see good examples. Like for example, I can say, for example, if you are traveling from Kaduna after Jiri, going to Kaduna, there's one school by the right when you're going there, whether it's science secondary school, you can see how it is demarcated. Like I said, a wall or perimeter fence, you know, can even deter an attacker. Every attack on a school starts with a surveillance. The person has to go around and see. By the time he sees one Baba Megad, very sleepy, 80 years, he's the one in charge of security, that encourages him. By the time he sees a school without a perimeter fence, he knows this is no man's land. Yep. That will encourage him. But by the time he sees one active Megad, checking all cars, stopping people before they enter, even that will say, look, it's like there's going to be a small problem here.
I'll come back. We have a little time. Abdullateef, I want to ask you this. I mean, this has to do with families and people, families, loved ones. What has the government done about reaching out to these families? Is the government discussing with them? What are they saying? What's happening on that front?
Thank you very much. Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak is a proactive and remarkable leader. He's family with his people at this period. And barely 24 hours after that Eruku incident, he visited Eruku community. He stopped over first at the palace where he addressed community members and the Council of Chiefs about the steps and strategies the government are looking to undertake to ensure that peace is restored in Iruku and the surrounding communities. He also proceeded to the CAC Okesegun Church where the attack was recorded. He spoke with the congregation as led by the pastor. He empathized with them. He reassured them of the commitment of the government in partnership with the federal government to ensure that the abducted victims are rescued as soon as possible. Away from that, when he returned to the government house in Ilorin, he also met with the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Kwara chapter, to commiserate with them, as well as explain the non-kinetic and kinetic approaches government have been deploying to ensure that calmness and peace and orderliness is maintained in every part of the state.
All right, thank you so much, Ibrahim Abdullateef, Senior Special Assistant on Communications to Kwara State Governor. He was speaking to us from Ilorin, of course. Group Captain, I didn't have the chance to ask you about why the optic suddenly. Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu retired as security consultant. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the program.